My name's Jim LaJoy. I'm the inventor of the all-season solar cooker. I've been asked to do a brief video about how I got into solar cooking, and after that I want to talk to you about the essentials of solar cooking, what's really important, what you need to know to be successful in solar cooking. I grew up in Arizona, Phoenix specifically, and Arizona is very hot. So I learned as a young man the power of the sun. When we would walk around barefoot in Phoenix, if you were crossing the street, then the black asphalt was very hot on your bare feet. But if you stood on the white line or the yellow line, that was tolerable. So what we found out then is that black is hotter under the sun than white or yellow is. Later on in life, I started reading the Mother Earth News because I was a gardener. One of the articles in the Mother Earth News was how to build a solar cooker, and I thought I would, so I did. And it was a box type of cooker with plywood and mirrors. After that, I built a parabolic cooker. I built other reflective type of cookers. And then throughout my life, I continued to build solar cookers and use them and enjoy them. And I learned a lot about what the advantages are of all the different types of solar cookers. Then about 15 years ago, I went on a camping trip and I took one of my solar cookers with me, and it broke when I was putting it into the truck, and I took it out to the campsite anyway, taped it back together. It worked really well. Then it broke again when I put it back in the truck, and on the way home I decided that I would build a solar cooker that would fold and be lightweight and would be durable and would be an easy one to take camping. And that's the one that you guys have with you today. That's the all-season solar cooker. So that's how I got into it. My background is healthcare administration, so solar cooking for me was a hobby until 1996 when my new design, the folding solar cooker, started becoming popular with people, and eventually I started a business doing that. Now, what's important about solar cooking? One of my previous jobs, I was a firefighter, and as firefighters, we learned a thing called the fire triangle. And the fire triangle had three sides. One was air, the second was fuel, and the third was heat. And in the different ways that we would fight fires, our job was to remove one of those components of the fire triangle. So if we remove the air, the fire would go out. If we remove the heat by applying water, the fire would go out. And if we remove the fuel, of course, the fire had nothing to burn, the fire would go out. So the fire triangle was really important. In solar cooking, we have what I call the solar cooking square. It's four-sided, has four components, and if any one of those components is taken out, your solar cooking will fail. So let's talk about those four components. I use the acronym CARD, or CARD, because it represents the components of the solar cooking square. C is for collection. All solar cookers collect light. Some of them collect more light than others by using reflectors. But the collection and the concentration of that light into an area where you're cooking or onto your cooking target is critical. Solar cooking, no sun, no cooking, pretty simple. The next important factor is absorption. Now this one's where people tend to make a mistake, well, sometimes make a mistake, I should say. The color black sends no light back. The color white reflects all light. When you have a black pot, it absorbs the light. And since energy can never be created or destroyed, only changed, the pot becomes hot because the light energy hits the molecules of the pot, excites them, they rub against each other, and that's how the heat is created. Now you have a pot that is hot. If you use a silver pot, the light will be reflected away. If you use a white pot, the light will be reflected away. You need a black pot for solar cooking, period. Never make the mistake to use anything but a black pot. The third component of solar cooking is retention. Now we've collected the light, we've got the light absorbed into a black pot, but we want to retain that heat. And the way we do that is by creating a cooking chamber. There's lots of different ways of doing it. Some box cookers will have a glass lid on them. Cookers like mine, the all-season solar cooker, will use either inverted glass bowls to hold the heat in, or the cooking bags that are supplied with the cooker to hold the heat in. It doesn't take much, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep the wind or the breeze or the ambient air away from your cooker or away from your hot pot, and that increases cooking. Can you cook without a containment for retention? Yes, you can, but it's going to be much, much, much slower. Finally, we need duration. Now, when you get a recipe for a cake mix and it says put it in the oven for 25 minutes, well, if you put it in the oven for 5 minutes and take it back out, you don't have a cake. All you have is a bunch of warm batter and the cake isn't there. Well, it's the same thing with the solar cooker. You have to have enough time to cook the food that you're working with. What's unique about the cooker that you guys will be working with today is that it is adjustable so that it can pick up the sun and focus it at virtually any solar elevation from dawn until dusk. And the advantage of that is that it greatly increases your available cooking duration. So if you start at 8 o'clock in the morning, as soon as the sun comes up, and instead of 10 o'clock in the morning and it starts raining at noon, well, you've had 4 hours of good cooking, and other designs which can't even start until 2 just wouldn't have worked that day. So if you don't have duration, you're not going to be able to solar cook. So let's go over this one more time. The acronym is CARD, C-A-R-D, and it stands for collection, absorption, retention, and duration. Now, final point I'd like to make is the importance of assembling your cooker correctly. I've worked really hard on the directions on that, and the most significant page in the directions is on page 2, where we tell you how to adjust the cooker to get the right shape, and that's super critical. If you don't have the right shape, if the distance between the upper reflector and the lower reflector, is greater than 28 inches, your cooker will not work well. You really want that 28. If you measure that and you've got 30, the cooker's just not going to have the right shape. Even though you focus the sun sight on the sun, you're just not going to have the right shape to do any cooking. Correct shape will increase the temperature of your cooker by well over 100 degrees. That's it. Remember CARD. Remember to get the correct shape on your cooker. And I hope you have a great time with it. Solar cooking is a great hobby. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.